Hi guys, this is a continuation of 8.7. So after you have made your fraction number line and uploaded to Seesaw, this is where you should be. And we're gonna do page 268 in our math journals together. And then I'm also going to show you guys how to do pages 269 and 270. So go ahead, grab your math journal and turn to page 268. On 268, it says exploring geoboard areas. For each rectangle, find the lengths of two sides that touch each other. Record your results in the table. Well, I'm actually going to use my e-toolkit, and I'm going to grab my Geoboard. And I have Geoboard dot paper. So we don't have our Geoboards. Those are the boards we use rubber bands with. They're at school. So luckily we have tools that we can use here. And I'm going to grab my Geoboard dot paper, the 10 by 10. And you're going to do this along with me. You do not need to be in Connect Ed. You can just follow along what I do. Okay, so I'm going to grab my e-tool and put that down. Okay, and what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to find the first two things that I'm supposed to do on page 268. So on page 268, I want to find different rectangles with areas of 12 square units, okay? And they're asking me to find side 1 and side 2. Okay. So I'm gonna change my color here. I'm gonna use red. Okay. So to find area of 12 square units, that means that the inside needs to be 12. So I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can go across like that. I'm counting the inside spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more, 6. And then I need to have two sets of those. So one rectangle that I could make looks like that. A 2 by 6 array. So side 1 is 2 square units, and side 2 is 6 units. Go ahead and write that in your math journal as well. Okay, another way that we can make 12 is by making a 4 by 3. So I'm going to go up 4 spaces and over 3 spaces, and then I'm going to come down and finish my rectangle. And if I count inside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So one side is 4, and the other side is 3. Okay, great. Now we're going to move on. I'm going to clear this board, this background. Actually, I'm not going to clear the background. I'm going to clear all my annotations. Great. Okay, so this time I'm looking for things that are 6 square units. And I'm going to have side 1 again, and I'm going to have side 2. Okay, so again, I'm going to get a new color. You guys are already probably thinking of the answer. One way to make a 6 square unit rectangle is I could literally just go across 6. It can be half of what we created last time. So side 1 is 1. Side 2 is 6. 1 times 6 is 6. Go ahead and write that in your math journal. Another way that we can make 6 is I can do a 2 by 3. Side 1 is 2. Side 2 is 3. So we have 2 and 3. Okay, we have one more that we're going to try here. This time, we're looking for rectangles that have an area of 16. So I have side 1 and side 2. Okay, change colors once again. All right, one way to make 16 is having 8 times 2. So if I go across 8, go all the way to there, and then I go down 2. So one side is 2, and one side is 8. So I would write 2 and 8. Another way to make 16 is by doing a 4 by 4 rectangle, which is also a square, because 16 is a square number. So one side is 4, the other side is 4. Great. Okay. So now that you have that top part written in, the next challenge that we're supposed to do on this page is think of an area with an odd number of square units. All of those, the area that we just did, those were all even numbers. So what if I wanted to find one with area of 21? What would my sides look like? Well, I have to think about fast facts that equal 21. And one way to do that is 7 times 3. So I could go up 3 and over 7, and that would give me 21. So my sides would be 3 and 7. And you may go ahead and write that in your math journal. Another one that we could do would be 9. Let's try to think of sides that would equal 9. I could do a 3 by 3. One side would be 3, and the other side would be 3. Finally, the last one I could do is I could do 15. And to make 15, I could do a 5 by 3. So I go up 3, and I go over 5, and it looks like that. And so one side is 3, and the other side is 5. Go ahead and make sure you have all of those written in under this section that says area with odd number of square units. Okay, let's go ahead and finish off this page. Study the table. What pattern or rule do you see? There's a few things that we notice, and you could write down anything. The first is that to get area, you multiply one side by the other side. You could write that down. Another thing you could write down is that to make an area that is odd, you have to have odd sides. That's something you could write. To make an even area, you can have both even or one odd, one even. But to make an odd area, you have to have both sides be odd numbers. Okay. Number 2 says choose one of the rectangles and write a number model that represents the relationship between the lengths of the touching sides and the area. And all they want you to do, if we did 3 times 7, or 3, 7, and 21, which you're welcome to do, you could just write 3 times 7 equals 21. You get to choose. The last step here, and I'm going to clear everything now. The last one on this page, number 3, says without using a geoboard, apply your pattern or rule to find side lengths of a rectangle with an area of 30 square units. Okay. So basically what I need to think about is some number times another number will give me an area of 30. Well, we have a few options. One option that we know of is I could have a side length of 5 and 6, and you could write that down. We could also have a side length of 10 and a side length of 3. I could have a side length of 15 and a side length of 2. Or finally, I could have a side length of 30 and a side length of 1. You get to choose. Okay. I'm going to clear everything again. Now I need you to turn the page of your math journal to page 269 and 270. On this page it says, follow the first time you work on this card. Directions on activity card 92. You don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to explain what you're going to do. For these pages, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you are pretending that the whole is a red piece. So I'm going to grab a red. Great. And then you're trying to figure out how much is missing. So I'm going to break this guy apart. So this is number 1 on page 269. So basically, I have the pink filled in. And I want you to come up with using different fraction pieces. You might want to go ahead and pull a few different ones out. I'm going to go ahead and pull these out. Yeah. Okay. Move this up a little bit. Great. You might want to work in Connect Ed right now for these 2 pages so that you can use these fraction circles. So I'm showing you how to do that. So I pulled a bunch out. And for number 1, I have half of it covered with this pink. And I need to figure out, okay, what fraction is missing besides just saying 1/2? Basically, I want an equivalent fraction of 1/2. Well, one way that I could do it is I could use this yellow one. These are fourths. And I could line them up and say, oh, okay, 2/4 is missing. So for number 1, it says what fraction of the whole is missing, and you would write 1/2. And then beneath it, you would write 1/2 equals 2/4. You are finding equivalent fractions. Okay, so that's number 1. Now, 2/4 is not the only option by any means. Oh, I'm just going to erase the 2/4. Another thing that you could write would be, let's see here. Okay, I could take those off. And so I could use these. These are 6. So I could fill in the blank with these pieces, just like that. And I could say, okay, well, 1/2 is also the same as 3/6. You get to decide. All right, I'm also going to show you number 2 just to drive this point home. And then you're going to finish page 270. So we will have finished page 269 together, and you can finish page 270. Okay, so this time the red is still the whole. And this is filled in like this. Okay. So 3/4 is filled in. So therefore, 1/4 is missing. I have to figure out something that equals the same as 1/4. I'm going to try these 1/8 pieces. I don't want that one. I want this guy. One fits. Oh my. I think it's going to be this one. All right. So what I would write for number 2 is that what fraction of the whole is missing? 1/4. And then I would write 1/4 equals 2/8. So you're going to go ahead and do that on page 270 for numbers 3 and 4, and then you're going to answer number 5. I suggest using Connect Ed to help you, but you do not have to. You can also look at your fraction cards or your fraction strips to help as well.